our relationship with television has changed a bit. It's different. I'm not going to tell everyone it was better when you had to wait a week. No, it's just different, and that's a thing we don't think about much.
Better is a judgment. It being different is simply a fact. You know, if you're binging something, it's a completely different way to experience it. It's like, what's going to happen next? Click.
Hello and welcome to Is That Some Kind of Japanimation Thing? A show where we revisit old anime until we don't. New tagline pending. My name is Scott.
I am Justin.
Last time we started the first 5 episodes of Trigun, and I didn't let Justin talk enough. Let's do 3 more. Let's do 3 more episodes, and let Justin talk more. Mostly we rushed through it because I don't like the first 4 episodes that much. They're all kind of the same.
I mean, they were enjoyable. It's an interesting way to establish the setting and the characters, and I'm really hoping, and I'm not looking forward. I'm not going to be checking episode lists or anything. But I'm really hoping at some point down the line there is a Marilyn Millie just focused episode, just where we dig deep into their background with the with the insurance company and other renegades and outlaws they've had to try to keep people away from. Their job seems very vague. It's like, they just walk out and say, "Hey, he's a bad guy. Don't stay back, kid. Stay back. Hey,
Yeah.
Don't. No.
Yes,
You don't engage with him because damage occurs around him."
This is a weird way to secure property values. And this episode is brought to you by Hobby Link Japan, and we are once again going to highlight a product, the 1/8 scale Artifacts J Vash the Stampede Renewal Package version. This is still in pre-order. Shh. This is still in pre-order. It'll start shipping. It'll start shipping in May, but you can order it right now. Get yourself one, because this is a reissue that only comes around every 10 years or so. Don't miss it. You can visit the link in the show notes that adds our affiliate code so that we can earn a little cash on this. Or you could just donate to our Ko-fi, because that's an option too.
Double dollar bills, y'all.
So episode 6 is Lost July, directed by Nanako Shimizaki. Another working director, a lot of single episode credits, a lot of storyboards, a lot of keys. The big claim to fame was leading the Fushigi Yugi OVA and being a unit director on a bunch of Anpan movies, which is a big deal if you're 7. It's about a superhero who is bread. He is a bun stuffed with red bean paste, and he fights germs.
There are 2 ways that could have gone, actually, because you said a superhero who is bred, either A, he is the product of a breeding program, which kind of sounds a little fascist, but, could be fun, or B, he's a bun. And they went with B, and I respect that.
Yes. All right, so we open up, and the town has... Vash has just given the town all the money from catching the Nebraskas last episode. Everyone's happy that they can now pay to have their plant fixed, because last episode they established that their plant is broken, and that's somehow related to how they can survive. And Marilyn Millie have admitted that our blonde idiot friend is Vash the Stampede, and now it's their job to stop him from causing property damage. This is a very weird insurance agency, because they could just capture him and put him in jail, and then he would not.
But he doesn't seem to actually cause a lot of property damage. Other people cause property damage around him. So, they could lock him up. I'm not sure where the authority to do that would derive from, other than being moneyed people in a vast, wild wasteland. But, their role seems primarily to be walking around him and saying, "Hey, no. They're trying to get everyone to shun the town hero." Yeah, that seems to be a self-defeating purpose.
Yeah, especially because he's just clearly friendly and children idolize him, and everyone's happy that he saved the town.
Everyone loves him.
Yes.
Now, apparently the mayor or selectman after the party, I don't want to get ahead of us, but he attends to arrange some female companionship for him. He just is out.
Yeah.
So God bless you, Vash.
Yeah. So we are introduced to the idea of a sand steamer, which is, I don't know, a big tank train cruise ship, but we also
it's a steampunk scale stagecoach.
Yeah, it's just big. Our engineering team meets the mayor. We see some kid looking for work. That probably doesn't matter. Why devote a scene to that? We are introduced to a lady plant engineer and a big guy who every time the camera focuses on him, the sound you just get this angry sound, the meanest sound cue in existence, and I'm like, why? It's very weird to just focus on this guy's shoulders and go bah.
To be deadly honest, I did notice him. They obviously designed the engineer to be aesthetically pleasing for a certain value, and I fall square in the middle of that, as I'm sure many of the older members of the show's audience, like those teenage boys, be like, "Hey, what a pretty lady! What a very pretty lady! I'm sure she's here to perform her job excellently, and has no hostile intentions."
Yeah. We see Vash just talking to the big light bulb. He pours out a 40 for it. This does not get it. This does not get explained at all.
Did Wild Turkey pay for the product placement?
No. This is just this is a classic Whack Donald scenario where they have misspelled it on purpose, so they probably don't get sued.
Oh, okay. I thought they just had it there, but if that was an amusing twist, well done, creative staff. I assumed it was just a bottle of Wild Turkey. He seems to have a very close connection with these machines, as we see continuing into the story.
All right. Yeah, we get the phrase "lost technology." That's a ding.
Mm-hmm. Anime wins. Is that what we're turning into?
I don't know. I'm just saying that this is a thing that, oh, hey, here's a clue to the backstory. Justin wanted more of the backstory, and we get cryptic hints. This episode is all about being cryptic.
I appreciate that, because I was like, what are these giant light bulbs? What are they, upside down giant light bulbs? They seem to be just scattered across the environment. Sure, I'm sure they have a purpose. I'm sure that may become clear and evident as we go along. And slightly, they have wiped off some of the dirt covering the instruction panel.
This attractive engineer lady recruits him as a bodyguard for unclear reasons. She says she's had bodyguards before. They didn't send her this time. That's weird. They have adjoining hotel rooms. There's a promise of sex later, but right now, adjoining hotel rooms. And then an ambush happens, and a hotel room explodes.
Okay. What is it's some sort of ninja with dreadlocks, so on some level someone's culture is being appropriated.
Yeah, this is white boy dreads. Well, we don't see that he's a white boy yet, but this is a white boy with dreads, and he appears to be doing capoeira but with knives on his legs, which as an assassin gimmick goes. I like it.
Yeah,
that is a good assassin gimmick.
If you're going to do that, capoeira is cool. Adding blades to the whole thing, no notes.
Yeah, I mean, I think as much as the dreads are a little like, maybe don't have dreads, white boy. Adding dreads to him gives the animator something to do to really emphasize the motion of him. Like, it adds to like the circularity and the spiralness of how he moves, and it's a good look when he's in action. Even if we're like, maybe. I mean, it was 1998, and there were just white boys with dreads back then. Yes.
That was a look.
Yeah, that was a look. We then see that the plant is now going to go critical. The next morning, the plant is going to go critical. And
now, I would like to. I did make a note, sorry, of a phrase Elizabeth, the engineer, used.
Yeah.
It's from Pandora's box God gave us.
Yeah.
Which indicates these were created by a predecessor of some kind, or I don't know if she literally thinks a divinity created it, or if she's just saying this is hecka stuff. And the whole, Pandora's box, loaded concept.
Loaded praise.
Never a good, yes.
Yeah.
Or unless it's the Hope, which came out last.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is. I mean, it is a thing you need to live on this desert planet that hates everything.
Is it a type of terraforming station? Getting ahead, am I?
Jumping a little ahead, but yeah, that's the implication right now. Like, we see that, like, the town is being swallowed by the desert, and it's because the plant is broken. So we can safely assume that. I do promise details will show up.
I'm in no rush. I'm not trying to leap ahead. It is the nerdy predisposition. Speculate.
Yeah, these are good. These are sound speculations. This episode is actually not based on anything from the manga. So this is them making a point of doing a bunch of exposition in this episode. So the plant's going to go nuclear. Vash and Elizabeth get locked in a room, and Dread Assassin Boy shows up, and we get our Looney Tunes moment of the episode where he is dodging these blade kicks in ballroom dance mode, and it's good. It's good. It's that sweet spot of awesome and also hilarious that I think this show really nails.
It's always good to see Vash doing his thing.
And then we get yet another betrayal, because it turns out Elizabeth just wants Vash dead for what he did to July City. We don't know what exactly he did, except that it was left in ruins, and she was a child, and her parents were dead, and she will literally do anything for that revenge. And
the flashback seems a little under-animated. Like, everyone in July City seems to look the same, unless they're clones, which
could be. I don't know. That's an interesting thing to draw out of there. I think it's just that it's either they didn't have a ton of budget for designing new background extras, or this is about, like, maybe they're trying to convey how her memory is sort of flattening things out, and that's why, like, it's why the colors are drawn out too, so that the shapes of people look different, and the whole town is once again ready to evacuate due to impending doom, and Vash does a thing.
He does something.
He does a thing. He just stares at the core of this, and all of the tubes do tube things, and then the plant is fine, and not explained. No clue. Just hugs it out.
Suggestions. No, just saying there are suggestions that he perpetrated some sort of magic. Vash's bisexuality is certainly coming to the front. He's flirting heavily with both Elizabeth and the ninja. So, once again, possibly overanalyzing it. Maybe he's just friendly. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. And yeah, we see that, and he just, we get Elizabeth just doing full on, like, samurai movie shit where, like, now anything, my revenge is worth anything, and it's like, yeah, I couldn't let you do it with other people around. You'd be as bad as me. Don't care. They hug it out. She realizes that, oh wait, this hug is oddly familiar, but that was decades ago. How could this be the same guy? Who knows? And then we get the credits.
In her flashback, I'm like, is that him? Like, rescuing her? That looks like him. His hair.
There's only one guy with this haircut. Everyone knows.
We know of.
Everyone knows.
We may encounter the planet of Vash later on.
Everyone knows everyone is assigned a haircut, and they can't cross over. No shared haircuts in space. This isn't Vulcan.
But she does get some catharsis from him, and is able, I think, to begin her healing journey.
Yeah, maybe just a bit.
Well done, Vash. Well done, Elizabeth.
You once again, optimism has triumphed over violence.
That suspiciously sounds like Scottish guy's catchphrase for Doctor Who. But yeah, I mean, that was an enjoyable episode, a good brief short story. A lot of double-sided tape used in the creation of the character of Elizabeth.
Yeah, that like they've lost a lot of technology, but apparently just Underwire has survived whatever happened. Just well-structured garments all around.
So I presume she works for a corporation of some kind?
Yeah. In the opening scene, in the opening where they're like the mayor and the alderman or whoever are like waiting outside the Sand Steamer, like they're holding the sign with the name of like the institute. So jumping into next episode, we have Brilliant Dynamite's Neon, directed by
BDN.
Mihiro Yamaguchi. They were a unit director on SD Gundam Scramble. They did a bunch of City Hunter episodes. And we start at another party, because Vash has saved the town twice. Millie is wasted and adorable.
And someone hands Mash a giant mug. Oh yeah, Millie is a lightweight. There you go. Which is shocking, because she seems, of all of them, the...
very sturdy. She's a sturdy person.
The stoutest of the characters. I might go so far as to say thick, with 2 C's.
Thick with several C's.
Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. This was the episode where the mayor attempts to send entertainment to Vash, and they seem very disappointed that he was not up for it. But
we find out that he was faking. He was faking not being up for it.
Oh yes, he was. He feigned sleep. Feigned his sleep as he, perhaps, I don't know, too shy. That didn't seem to be the case last episode.
Yeah, like he has like done low-grade sexual assaults in 2 episodes, and then spent last episode doing puppy play in public with Elizabeth, and I'm like, and now that it's just there, there, buffet line of there.
They're up for you, Vash. I mean, it's like, there's no, everyone's fully consenting. Very enthusiastically, I would say.
Yeah. And nope, just doesn't want to. So Vash is now terribly hungover, hopping on to the Sand Steamer. He got a ticket in steerage, I guess. And, he rolls away to the next town. We see that some guy with a beard is like, hey, you're a famous outlaw. Can we pay you to be a famous outlaw publicly? And it's like, no, actually, I would like to sleep because I am hungover.
He gets handed a very big mug during the celebration.
Yeah, it is. That was probably not his only very big mug of some. I mean,
large mug.
Comically large mug of something. We don't see. Again, we still haven't seen anyone grow crops, so I don't know what it is that he got. This could be some cactus juice, you know? It's the quenchy kind.
Well, I mean, like the first thing you do when you set up any sort of civilization is you start making beer. I mean, it could be the same thing in ancient Egypt. You know, the workers would be given a glass of beer as a couple meals because they contain much of the nutrients that they required over the day. And then, you know, I'm not 100% on the dietary plans of an ancient Egyptian monument builder, but it's an anecdote I heard once. So don't believe anything I just said, kids. I am probably making shit up. Top of my head.
I spend a lot of time making fun of people who don't know who lie about the pyramids. So like for the most part, the pyramids are because the actual agriculture in Egypt was so easy, relatively speaking. I mean, you just put the seeds down, let the river flood, walk away for months, and then
come back.
The pharaohs
harvest.
Yeah, the pharaohs were just like, okay, we're just gonna pay these guys to drink beer and pile rocks, because if they don't have anything to do, they might question why I am the guy who can afford to pay my entire population to drink beer and pile rocks. Perhaps the gap in wealth between the citizenry of Egypt and the pharaohs is about the same as the wealth gap is now.
Oh, wow. Zing. Elon Musk, we're coming for you.
Look, I'm just saying, if you paid me a living wage to pile rocks and drink beer, maybe I would not be so mad at you all the time, Elon Musk.
See, Pharaoh instituted the first UBI, the universal beer intake.
Yes.
So,
and universal block intake.
Yes.
2 UBI programs. Okay. The episode.
Universal brick implementation. I got nothing.
So anyway, that kid from last episode who didn't matter just pops out of the ceiling because the kid is a stowaway, and he lies to Vash, and he says,
"Are we now?" I just want to come in a little bit uncertain about the gender of said child. Seems to be referred to using only the proper noun of the kid.
Yeah,
and during during a later scene, they are strapped, and I am getting the whole hiding as by concealing their gender thing, and I'll see if that. Obviously, I don't think that comes up in any of the episodes we've watched, but we'll see if anything does show up later.
Well, okay, so now that you mention it, I'm like, well, okay, it doesn't help that in the English dub, they're voiced by a woman, but it's a woman who almost exclusively works dubbing like 9-year-old boys, right?
So a reverse Shakespeare thing.
Yeah, like Mona Marshall, mostly known for playing young men. And then in Japanese, it's also voiced by a woman in the Japanese. Yeah. Like that. Oh, it's Ash Ketchum, the original Ash Ketchum.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So that's an ambiguity. Maybe the kid is a woman disguised as a boy. It doesn't come up in these 2 episodes.
No,
doesn't come up.
They point out that. Yes.
Like there's no reveal where it's like, oh, you were a girl the whole time. So that leads me to believe guy, but maybe not. So anyway, Vash agrees to take the bodyguard job because that means he can have a room to hide this kid. We find out that Meryl and Millie are now working the snack counter to pay for their tickets because the insurance agency.
I'm a little uncertain how they manage this.
Yeah.
Because when we saw, they were like, oh my God, Vash has split town, and they're packing, and the thing's leaving.
Yeah,
so they managed to get on the ship and arrange for a job, which is not actually the least believable part of this, because someone just hired Vash to guard the ship, as he was sleeping in a hallway. So their human resources situation seems a little bit messed up.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if the captain was hired, during the voyage. It's like, we need a captain. Do you want the job?
This organization seems like they're in the habit of picking people up as they go, and people just leaving, which is a bad sign, because even cruise ships now don't have bartenders jumping ship in Cuba. Often. I'm sure it happens.
Well, that we know of.
But as far as I know, cruise ships are terrible to work on. International waters means international labor laws, i.e. no labor laws.
Oh, I just watched, all right, to interject, and, we could cut this if this is boring, just saw an interesting video by the Mortician influencer about a guy who got loaded into a beverage cooler instead of a morgue drawer for his final voyage home. And it turned out not great.
That's not how you store that.
I assume
I assume the Stan Steamer, if anyone has a heart attack on board, just gets thrown off the side for
I'll just reduce the drag.
Yeah. There's a very important thing, which is that Vash buys snacks, and we finally know what things cost now, because
good.
Because 2 hot dogs and 6 other things from the snack aisle all come out to $12.75, and that's cruise ship prices. That's like convenience store. That's like airline food. So $60 billion is considerable.
So $12.75 dollar.
Yeah, $12.75.
Which is an expensive amount of food. Because it's, once again, highway robbery type of thing.
Yeah.
And,
There we go. So now we have a scale for money. Finally, 7 episodes in.
The economy is clicking into place.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even in hyperinflationary, 60 billion. As long as you're not crazy like $10 million a loaf of bread, that's still a good amount.
The kid has left the room and is now signaling goons? Just a whole army of goons. They have... God, these guys are themed. Themed goons with neon lights.
The Bugmen goons.
And I know we talked about, just so much of Borderlands is in Trigun, or Trigun is in Borderlands. These guys are Borderlands goons.
They're bad lads. That's all I want to say. Bad lads.
Yeah. The kid also sabotages all the defenses, gasses a bunch of guys, and Vash is asleep, and he has a dream about a dark-haired woman, and there's a song, little song, little lullaby that goes on, and he wakes up crying.
Is that a theme that's going to continue?
It might be. So I'll say now, this song it's on the soundtrack, it's on Spotify, and you can listen to it, and the lyrics in translation are a creation myth, actually.
Uh-huh.
That might be thematic. We'll see.
Very much just want to say at this point, Vash, if we're talking creation myths, he's a trickster figure.
Yeah.
He's gonna get up to something.
He's up to something. So the goons flood the entire sand steamer. They start robbing all the passengers, and then they find a safe, a big one. Except no one has the code or the keys, and the only one who does are the guys at the destination city, which is safe. That's sensible. I don't know what you do with your... There's like a whole gambling deck. There's a casino deck, and I'm like, okay, but what do you do with that money then? Is that just in drawers?
Put it in a little tube, and the air thing... There's a big pile of those tubes of cash in the corner. That's the vault.
I will accept this explanation. I can accept it. Brilliant Dynamite's Neon is fucking great. I love this guy. He's just loud and ridiculous, and he speaks entirely in metaphors about shining. He kills people for no reason, just murderous.
He's a bit of a jerk. I'm not gonna lie.
Just the most anime guy ever.
When you look at anime villains, I am pretty sure someone has to put him on the list.
Yeah, he's on
the
list.
ATF anime villains.
Yeah. So he decides that, okay, well, if I can't get this safe open, I'm just going to ram this entire sand steamer off a cliff, and he jams the accelerator, kills the driver, and it's going to be fine?
I'm looking at this plan, and I'm seeing flaws. I'm seeing flaws in this plan, Scott.
This man has gotten a little too much sun. He's not thinking straight.
The shoulder pads are cutting off the circulation to his brain. That's what I'm thinking. Because his shoulder pads, Liefeldian, I would say. This guy looks like
Liefeld into Kirby territory. If Kirby drew shoulder pads the way Kirby drew hats, I think, yeah. This guy looks like a new god.
He grew up admiring the Celestials' aesthetic.
Yeah. And this guy is all about aesthetic. And the kid is very upset that he's going to crash the ship because he is emotionally attached to his father who designed the ship. And now that, I don't know, that his dad's dead, I guess? Anyway,
so why did he help bandits seize the ship? I mean, that's obviously going to cause damage. Bandits do not take a light touch when they are stealing a thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah, like this kid was we see, I think this is next episode, we see a flashback of him being recruited into the gang, and I'm like, okay, that means like Neon had to have known that this guy had kid had an inside track. But that's weird too. It doesn't totally add up, but we also get a scene where Neon puts his gun against some guy's teeth, and the Foley for that is so good. Just the gun barrel hitting teeth, and I'm like, I was wearing headphones at the time and chills. Also, Neon's gun makes pinball machine noises. Why?
I just want to say, Scott, I'm comfortable enough. I'm calling him brilliant. Yeah. I feel like I understand this guy. I feel like I know this guy. I think we would. I think we're simpatico here. Him and I. At one point, he said, if it's not flashy and high style, what's the point? And I'm like, I see you. Brilliant. I see you. I feel you. We're bringing this together.
Yeah.
Usually, Bandit's not usually my thing. This guy, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
Alonzi, I apologize.
Yeah. So Vash busts in, shoots up a bunch of guys, throws himself out a window with the kid. This is a brilliant plan.
This is his strategy.
Yeah. Meryl, we see them hanging off the side of the ship now. Meryl and Millie, they've been sleeping in one of the cargo rooms, and they beat up some dudes and presumably take their outfits, but we don't find that out. And yeah, no, they just drag.
Spoiler confirmed next episode.
Yeah, and we're left on the cliffhanger of literally they're gonna run this space steam train cruise ship off a cliff, and our boys are dangling off the side of it, and we get it. So this is our first two-parter. Yes, we might get more. Fortunately, when I bought this on DVD, well, okay, so when I first watched this was through dubiously legal means. So on dubiously legal means that ran on dial-up. So it was some time before I got to watch the next part. Yeah, dial-up.
Oh, I mean, it just strikes me as the sort of thing that you could also handle through mail order or a dealer's room in some place.
I was in a small town in Canada.
Yes.
Fortunately, on DVD, when I bought it on DVD, it's just the next episode on the disc. But now when you buy it on DVD, you have to switch discs. I think that has to be on purpose. That's like, oh, you want it? You got to stand up and switch discs.
There's effort involved here. What's going to happen next? You can't just find out. You have to wait at least 20 seconds.
You got to press the eject button like twice. Switch things up. And then there's the loading screen.
Possibly a trailer.
Our relationship with television has changed a bit, and it's different. I'm not going to tell everyone it was better when you had to wait a week. No, it's just different, and that's a thing we don't think about much.
Better is a judgment. It being different is simply a fact. If you're binging something, a completely different way to experience it. It's like, what's going to happen next? Click next episode, or it automatically starts. If you're watching a broadcast thing, if you come in 4 minutes late, you might have missed a major plot point. If you have to go to the washroom halfway through, oh my God, physical pain, or hope you can do it during the commercial break. And then if you're lucky and you've recorded it, you can watch it over again a couple times. And if it's a cliffhanger, you really invest. You don't know. You spend time wondering. And then, oh my God, they made it out alive. Even though, as the lead characters of a show, if it's not The Walking Dead, they're always going to be out alive.
I mean, there was that question of, is Patrick Stewart coming back for season 3? I mean, Jonathan Frakes did just say to open fire on Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
A whole summer. Of like, so do we know if Patrick Stewart signed a third season contract? Are they going to tell us? Come on, somebody.
They're not going to tell us.
I mean, and at the same time, like, while I'm talking about how things have changed, I tried to figure out what the deal is with Suits, because they announced, like, oh yeah, it's been 1 trillion hours of Suits has been streamed, and I sat down and I'm like, okay, I will play it. And for, like, the first few episodes, like, okay, I get it. It's just a ludicrous procedural. And then I just somehow kept it running, and I'm 3 seasons in, and I'm like, no, why still? Why still?
How much attention did you find yourself paying to it?
Oh, it became, like, part of my day job just involves collecting news for a news podcast. So I just have TV running while I'm scrolling for headlines. So, like, not a high effort watch, I will admit. But it does have Gina Torres in a number of Suits, and that's good.
During the time when she and Larry Fishburne, Larry Fishburne. Thank you. I'm a jerk. I believe when they were married, they were both working on shows in Toronto for a period. And then, the City of Romance. Let's just call it that. But find yourself something that loves you half as much as the cast of Suits love Royal Match. That's what I like to say. Because I keep getting Royal Match ads. They're like, "Hi, I'm blank from Suits," and I'm like, "So you're not getting any of the Netflix residuals, are you? Like none, not a dime."
No.
Because if they were treating the actors with any decency, you would not have to do an ad for Royal Match.
No, they would not.
Anyway.
Our next episode is And Between the Wasteland and the Sky, which is one of those Star Trek episode names. Toss.
It does
Toss.
seem very poetic. Yeah.
Yeah, like Toss era.
Would that my heart could breathe in this place.
Or Spock's brain.
Yeah. There's an arc between the two of those.
Which way, Toss episode title. So this episode was directed by Ko Matsuo, who is a big deal, actually. Eventually he gets hooked up into Sunrise and their work ecosystem, so he directs Valrave, Gundam Thunderbolt. He's a unit director on Hathaway. He does a lot of theatrical stuff, so Perfect Blue, Millennium Actress, bunch of episodes of My Hero Academia, and the movie version of X, which might be one we talk about. That might be a good one.
Perfect.
For the first 15 minutes of this episode, it's just Die Hard. It's just Die Hard.
I knew I loved this. Brilliant Dynamite Neon is Hans Gruber, and the world is a beautiful place. My pal Brill. That's what I call him, Brill. Hey, Brill. I think you're being a bit harsh. We don't get an Ennis. We don't quite get that.
The kid. I mean, like the kid running the radio system is he's closer to the guy from more the guy from Die Hard 2. Yes. We don't get an Ellis. We don't get we do have I guess a Holly Gennaro, but that comes later. We open with a note that I just have my notes just read optimism brackets violent, in which he literally headbutts a child. Vash literally headbutts a child into having hope for the near term, and both are left bleeding from this. And I'm like, I'm sure you could have convinced this child that maybe you could be hopeful without head wounds, especially because you have to fight all the dudes in a minute.
In the aftermath, if you want to continue, I just have an observation after the fight is done. First.
Yeah, so we are introduced. They set up the scenario. Kid's got a walkie-talkie. He's gonna spy on the talkie tubes, the voice tube system, feed Vash info, feed the bad guys bad info, and Vash will just fight all the dudes to get back to the top to stop the steamer. We are given a timer of 15 minutes. This episode is longer than 15 minutes. I don't think they did any. This was before. This was before real time would have been a gimmick you'd put on screen.
Now he does. He defeats two of the villains, and is heartbroken that he has wounded them significantly. He's got a 20-point code versus killing here. He is not. He reminds me of a character from an old comic book that no one knows called Thriller, who was the greatest marksman in the world. And his motto is only flesh wounds, only outpatients. I won't kill anyone, so don't ask me. And I have loved that character ever since I read that description of him in a DC editorial and then never read a single issue of the book.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff. Yeah. No, and I mean, this bit's really great because it does sort of point out that, Vash is very good at what he does, but it's still not easy to disable people with a gun. And I think there are a lot of technical pacifist anime protagonists that kind of get off the hook easy, where it's like, in a few years, there's a show called Grenadier that kind of runs on the same premise, and she also has a ridiculously large gun. And it's like, yeah, no, she just gets off the hook. She just gets to not kill people all the time. And here it's like, no, actually, not killing people is really hard. This whole thing would be easier if he was just aiming for kill shots, which he could do. So we get a scene where he is bandaging a guy up. Later, we find out that he has also been shot and needs help. We get another reference to the dark-haired woman. Might be Rem, might not be. We heard Rem last time.
Does her theme song play? Is it a specific theme song for her or for him in emotional pain? I am as yet. It took me 4 episodes to just finalize that this was Vash Scott. I want you to know. I may be a little bit behind the curve on this.
I think this
I'm
show
old and tired.
The show wants you to be guessing. It doesn't want you to be sure. It took 4 episodes for us to be sure this guy, our protagonist, really was Vash. And now we're like, okay, who is this woman? Is this her theme song? What's going on? And we get a bit more of the backstory for the kid. Kid was paid off by, I guess he was orphaned through non-specific means, and then he was recruited by your boy Brill to do crimes related to his dad's work, I guess.
So the kid's dad designed the ship, built the ship, owned the ship. It seems to be like
I think it's a design thing. It's a design thing. We see like architectural drawings.
Now there is a line later on that really throws me here. We can discuss it when we get to it or when we're done if I don't catch it. But there is a line that I'm like, what?
So eventually it is determined that no, the Kite and Vash bamboozle attempt has been counter-bamboozled, and now Vash has now been trapped and cornered by all the goons. The kid is there, also being held hostage by all the goons. But then we get the goons. Some of them are not goons. They're Marilyn Millie in goon costumes.
Yes, classic Marilyn Millie.
Yeah, just popping up, just pulling the old disguise yourself in the goon outfit trick, getting close,
throwing out their nicknames.
So the best thing about this is that in the Japanese, no one says everyone says the nickname in English. All nicknames.
Oh, beautiful.
All nicknames. So you just get these Japanese actors putting a lot of ham on saying, "Oh, Basho's Stampido! Brilliant Dynamite's Neon! Spanganili!" And this will go forward. This is true of all guys with nicknames and monikers. They will just be doing the actors will stop and say this in English with a lot of ham and cheese on it, and it's great. It's great. Anyway, realizing that he has been got, Neon agrees to just showdown it. Like they have him dead to rights, but it's like, nah, we're just gonna quick draw for it to see who gets to be in charge of the emergency brake.
That's how my boy Brill rolls.
I mean, it does have style. It does have style.
Yeah. If it's not flashy and high style, what's the point?
I guess exactly.
Man lives by code.
So they go out to the Lido deck. They flip a coin. They flip a coin. When the coin hits the ground, we draw. The steamer hits the canyon wall, but the coin still hits. They still draw at the same time. Vash pulls his stitches, so he can't get the winning shot. He gets the disarm. Neon tries to get the kill shot. The rocks intervene. Neon's like, well, okay, we'll call it a draw because the fight wasn't fair to start. So he agrees to a draw on his terms, and it's like, okay, we'll leave. We're just gonna leave. And then the emergency brakes don't work, and the kid is trying to help the engineering team hit like an emergency valve inside the engine. In the manga version of this, the sand steamer is also powered by one of the giant light bulbs. So this is where they drop the exposition about the light bulbs and what they do. And then not even that works, and Brilliant Dynamite's Neon despite having called it a draw, is like, no, actually you won, and if you won, that means I have to help you get the terms of the bet. So he jams his car into the side of a canyon, and the sand steamer does not crash into a canyon, and everyone is safe. Because your boy Brill has a code. He has a code and an aesthetic, and he lives by it, and he never shows up again, even though he definitely should at 2 different points.
Let's just say, I would watch the spin-off of Brill and the Bad Boys. The Bad Lad.
The bad lads just riding across the land, being not good at banditry because they have a code that makes no sense.
So much code, Brill. I think is this heist up to code, Brill? I think it is.
I'm pretty sure he left with all the money he stuck at the start. Like he definitely left with all the loose cash and jewelry.
Which, honestly, if you're going to wear that onto a Sandstreamers casino, you assume that's just gone. You don't worry about that.
Yeah, no. I mean, what? This is a sand steamer that is recruiting outlaws to famous outlaws to be bodyguards mid-trip. This is. There are no authority figures in this desert that make any sense. We don't see any law enforcement beyond a town sheriff and an insurance company that when their agents find a wanted criminal who causes mass amounts of property damage, don't turn him over to the police or anything. They just try to stop him.
There's no police to turn him over to. Every time they go to, he becomes their best friend, and suddenly it's like, oh no, we can't take it, Vash. 60, how many? Nah.
Here's the largest beer ever. And the kid starts singing the song, and Vash is sad, and that's the episode.
At one point, the engineers say something about, this ship is so old, but did we not just see this queen child's father designing it?
Yeah.
That does not seem to sync up in my brain.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of mistranslation from the original, or is it just like...
Yeah, the tween's dad was also not very old. Like, no. if he'd been an old guy, it's like, no, okay, I would buy it. It's like, okay, if the kid's dad was old, then it's like, oh, he designed this when he was young. And it's like, no, these engineers are just bad at their jobs, I guess.
The lowest, you get what you pay for when you get these steamship engineers.
Yeah. I mean, again, we've also established that they don't have snack counter ladies guaranteed.
I mean, maybe they jumped at the last village because the engine got reactivated. They're like, screw this, I'm staying here. It's better than going on that death trap. That 14-year-old death trap.
Yeah, this reasonably aged death trap. All right. So what do you think of this?
I'm digging it. It is a very enjoyable show. I believe that the title is a contraction. It actually stands for Try Not to Kill Anybody with My Gun. And we'll see if that is actually the case as we go along. But very much a Japanimation thing.
Yes.
Very much a...
This is the most deeply anime, just because we have Brilliant Dynamite's neon and his aesthetic and his code and his shouting and I don't know.
I'm just disappointed I haven't seen more people cosplaying Brill, because just the shoulder pads, pull that off, kids. Do that. Impress me. Show me what you have. Dig deep down, braise them up. You'll get no peripheral vision.
God, no.
But you get to wear a hat.
Yeah, and you get a hat. Oh man, the thing. Oh, and now that we have like LED tape light and tubing, you could get so much done with it.
There you go.
And a gun that makes pinball machine noises. Yeah. So next time we are gonna meet a man in the desert, with 3 episodes again, 9, 10, and 11.
I mean, that's pretty much a definition of every single episode, is we meet a man in the desert or next to the desert or going through the desert.
Look, it's mostly desert. You're going to need to do a lot of things in the desert.
Desert all the way down.